What if I told you the 2027 national title race is already exposing frauds in July? Not because teams can't score. Everybody in the top 10 can score. The real question is nastier than that. Who can get stops for 6 straight games in March? Because July rankings love star power, they love transfers, they love recruiting graphics. But when the tournament turns into a half-court fight, the teams that survive are the ones with defensive answers. So today we are building the definitive July tier list of 2027 national title contenders, separating the real championship threats from the paper tigers. And yes, somebody's favorite team is about to get disrespected.
Prime Field!
Here's the rule for this list. Offensive talent gets you ranked in July, but defensive continuity gets you to April. So we are not just asking who has the biggest name. We are asking who returns defensive value, who has rim protection, who has point of attack pressure, who rebounds, who can switch, who already has proven tournament level habits. And because individual defensive win shares are not an official NCAA team ranking standard, we are using returning defensive win share profile as a shorthand. Basically, who brings back real defensive production, not just a famous roster? Here's the roadmap. First, the true title favorites, then the high ceiling teams with one major question, then the Paper Tiger watch list. And at the end, I'll give you my July prediction, plus the team I think fans are sleeping on the most. Let's start at the top. Number 1, South Carolina. And I know Gamecock fans are going to say, of course, everybody else is going to roll their eyes. But this is not about hype. This is about the defensive floor. South Carolina finished 36-4 and reached the national championship game. That alone keeps them in the conversation. But the 2026-27 version has a different kind of ceiling because Chloe Kitts and Ashlyn Watkins are back in the front court picture after missing the season. Then you add Texas transfer Jordan Lee, elite freshman Olivia Edwards, and still have Joyce Edwards, Tessa Johnson, Maddie McDaniel, Adhel Tack, Agate McKeer, Ayla McDowell, Alicia Twinbisi, and a loaded freshman group. That is not just depth. That is defensive layering. South Carolina does not need to discover its identity. Dawn Staley already has the infrastructure, rebounding, discipline, length, physicality, and multiple bodies to throw at elite scorers. So the verdict is simple. Not a paper tiger. South Carolina is the cleanest number 1 because championship defense is already baked into the system. Number 2, UConn. And this one is fascinating because the argument starts with one player, Sarah Strong, but it does not end there. Strong was named AP Player of the Year after averaging 18.6 points, 7.6 rebounds, 3.4 steals, and 1.6 blocks while shooting elite percentages. That is absurd. That is not just superstar scoring. That is a defensive system wearing a jersey. When your best player can score, rebound, create steals, protect the rim, and clean up broken possessions, everybody else's job becomes easier. Now, yes, UConn loses important veterans. That matters. But the defensive blueprint survives because Strong, Jana El-Alfi, Kaylee Heckel, Blanca Quinones, KK Arnold, and incoming post Olivia Vokosa give Gino Auriemma size, length, ball pressure, and interior presence. And Vokosa's profile is ridiculous. 17.8 points, 18.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 4.4 blocks per game as the 2026 Gatorade National Girls Basketball Player of the Year. So no, UConn's title case is not just Sarah Strong gets 25. It is Sarah Strong making every defensive possession cleaner. Verdict, real contender. Number 3, Duke. And this might be the team that starts the most arguments. Duke is not always the loudest July brand. But if we are talking about defensive structure plus enough offensive improvement, the Blue Devils are a real Final Four threat. ESPN's post-portal ranking moved Duke to number 3, and the logic is clear. Kara Lawson adds Texas transfer Aaliyah Crump, gets Emily Skinner back after an injury-limited freshman season, and still has Toby Fournier as a front-court anchor. That matters because Duke has already had defensive credibility. The question was always, can they score enough when the game slows down? Now, with more spacing, more creation, and more lineup versatility, Duke becomes scary. This is the kind of roster that might look less flashy than USC in July, but more dangerous in March. Verdict, real contender. If Skinner is healthy and Crump translates, Duke is not just an Elite 8 team. Duke can be in the final weekend. Now we get to the dangerous teams. These are not frauds, but each one has a question that keeps them just below the cleanest title tier. Let's start with USC. USC might have the highest offensive ceiling in the country if Juju Watkins returns at superstar level. That is the big swing point. Watkins missed the entire 2025-26 season while recovering from the ACL injury she suffered in the 2025 NCAA tournament, but she was back on the court with USC during summer work. Add Jazzy Davidson, Sania Hall, and a revamped roster, and suddenly USC is shot creation everywhere. But here's the debate. Star power is not the same thing as March defense. Can USC defend together? Can the new pieces communicate? Can they survive when a team forces them into a grinded-out game? Verdict, dangerous but not fully proven. USC is absolutely a title contender if the defense catches the offense. But right now, the defensive continuity profile still needs proof. Now, Michigan is the team I think a lot of casual fans will underrate. Michigan's superpower is continuity. While other teams are replacing pieces, rebuilding rotations, or chasing portal fixes, Michigan brings back a strong nucleus, led by Olivia Olson and Silas Swords. That matters. Shared minutes matter. Defensive chemistry matters. Guards who already know where the help is coming from matter. Michigan may not have the loudest national brand, but this is the opposite of a paper tiger. The Wolverines have stability, defensive growth potential, and a backcourt that already knows how to play together. Verdict, real threat. Maybe not the most explosive roster, but one of the safest continuity bets in the country. Now, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's case starts with Hannah Hidalgo, the best defensive guard in the sport. She won the 2026 Naismith Defensive Player of the Year and produced a ridiculous steal season, including 202 total steals and tournament record defensive moments. That kind of point-of-attack pressure can break teams, but here's the concern. Does Notre Dame have enough two-way depth around her? Madison St. Rose helps. The Irish still have elite pressure defense, but against bigger, deeper teams like South Carolina, UConn, and Duke, can they hold up inside? Verdict, Hidalgo makes them dangerous against anybody, but the title case depends on front court resistance and late clock offense. Now we get spicy. Texas at number 7. Texas had a great season, 35-4, Final Four. Madison Booker keeps them nationally relevant, but if we are ranking defensive continuity title cases, the Longhorns have red flags. They lost Jordan Lee to South Carolina, Aaliyah Crump to Duke, and Justice Carlton to Houston. That is not just losing bench scoring. That is losing defensive size, wing athleticism, and rotation flexibility. A team can still be very good and still be overrated as a title favorite. That is where Texas lands right now. Verdict, paper tiger candidate. Talented? Absolutely. Dangerous? Yes. But the defensive continuity profile screams caution. Now UCLA, and this is where people might get mad. UCLA is the defending national champion. The Bruins went 37, won and beat South Carolina 79-51 in the national championship game. But this is the classic July trap. The championship core is gone. The 6 seniors who powered that run scored all 79 points in the final. All 79. Addie Brown is a huge transfer addition from Iowa State. Sienna Betts is a major future piece. UCLA is not falling off the map, but this is no longer the same team that suffocated South Carolina and Phoenix. ESPN's post-portal rankings dropping UCLA to number 13 makes sense. Verdict, defending champion but not a top-tier July contender. UCLA is rebuilding its defensive identity from the ground up. Tier 4 is where we put the dangerous teams that can ruin brackets but have not yet shown the complete title formula. LSU has talent, name value, and offensive firepower. But the defensive continuity argument is not as clean as South Carolina, UConn, Duke, or Michigan. The Tigers can win big games, but this list needs more than offensive electricity. TCU deserves respect after a 32-6 season. The program has real momentum. But from a national title lens, the question is whether the Frogs have enough defensive athleticism against the very top tier. Being excellent is not the same as being built to beat South Carolina, UConn, and Duke back-to-back. And Vanderbilt, must-watch team. Michaela Blakes gives them star power and real national buzz. But title teams usually need multiple defensive answers, not just offensive explosion and momentum. Here's my July prediction. If I had to pick the cleanest title profile today, I would still start with South Carolina. Not because they are perfect, but because they have the fewest defensive questions. UConn is right there because Sarah Strong changes the math of every matchup. And Duke is my breakthrough pick. The team that might not get casual hype in July, but could look terrifying by March. But here's the cliffhanger. USC is the chaos team. If Juju Watkins is fully back, and if the defense comes together faster than expected, the whole tier list can flip. Because nobody wants to see elite shot creation plus real defensive buy-in in March. Now I want your take. Who is the biggest paper tiger? Texas, UCLA, USC, or somebody else? Drop your tier list in the comments. And be honest. Are we overrating defensive continuity? Or is this exactly what July rankings always miss? Subscribe for more women's hoops deep dives, because all offseason we are separating real contenders from hype machines. And the next debate is even tougher. Which 2027 contender has the most overrated backcourt?
Prime Field!